more importantly on social media. Trenton and Ryan. It's a Trenton and Ryan. It's a Trenton and Ryan. The Trenton and Ryan Show. The Trenton and Ryan Show. Watch out! What's up, man?
Hey, Iceman. It's been a minute, eh?
Iceman, the Trenton, man. The Trenton and Ryan Iceman McChesney here. It's week one of the NFL season is underway. It's Sunday at 4:08 our time, Central Time. So I'm kind of keeping an eye on the Bears and the Packers game, which is interesting.
Yeah,
and
how's that looking right now?
And I also had a lot of fun watching the Bengals get trucked over, get stomped on, get beaten, get embarrassed and humiliated by the Cleveland Browns.
It's a beautiful thing to see.
Y'all
enjoy Orlando Brown Jr.
It was the Cleveland or the Cincinnati Bengals, their fans, their players, from all of us here in Kansas City. You're welcome for Orlando Brown Jr. And also Joe Burrow, after signing that massive contract, is absolute 100% hot, steaming garbage. You hate to see it. You
ain't got to be so rough on him, man. I mean, it's just the Browns who somehow know how to.
And you know who wasn't good this game? The Perv. The Perv wasn't good either. Deshaun Watson, he was not that great either. It's not like the Browns played lights out. No, they were awful too. It was just the Bengals were so bad. It was like, and I if the Bengals were the Chiefs, they would be their receiving corpse.
Ooh, dang.
That's how bad the Bengals were. Joe Burrow would be the Kaderius Toney of this team.
Oh, dude. Come on, man.
Oh, that's
because he was the player of the week for the Lions, doesn't mean
that. Oh, we'll get into that, dude.
Go there.
We'll get into that. Good grief, Trenton. Well, let's start out by going what we did over about a month ago. We went to the Chiefs training camp.
We sure did, Ryan.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
got to see some Travis Kelce action before he did stuff to his knee that stinks. He hyperextended his knee. We got to see some Isaiah Pacheco run the ball more than he did during that whole game on week one. And then we got to see Patty Mahomes go, why did he?
I know. My hopes and dreams happened that day. That's all I was really looking forward to.
There was one person you wanted to meet, but you didn't get to meet him. And who was that?
Oh, Mr. Chris Jones.
I thought it was Mitch Holthus.
Oh, yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
You did say that.
Man, I was looking at some of all of their B-roll footage from KC Sports Network and just what the Chiefs had, even in the franchise episode, just to see if maybe they caught us in the background, and I have yet to find us because that was right before they played the Saints. It was that Friday.
Well, was it before they played the Saints?
I think so because they went down to New Orleans. I'm pretty sure because it was right before their first preseason game. Maybe they lost.
Yeah.
It was the Saints, Cardinals, and then the Browns.
Yeah. They were pretty bad against the Saints. I don't know. And then it was fun. It was fun watching them up close. Obviously, it was jam-packed. They had kind of a whole it was kind of a Chiefs festival there thing where you could play games and take a picture with certain I don't know. They had things that you could take your picture with and like the Chiefs logo and a football player statue. So it was really cool. It was cool. Had fun. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a really good time. It was a nice little free event that they put on in St. Joe. I think it's worth the drive if you're, within an hour or two from there. I know next time I would probably want to go on more a middle day of the week, not so busy. Get there early, but I think any football fan knows that. And I know kind of like the path that the players go up and down, so that way you can maybe get up in there and just try to get their attention. Can you please sign this?
Hey, hey Patrick, can you sign this? Or hey, Travis, can you sign this? Or
somebody had like a giant fold-out like cardboard cutout of Kelsey, and I remember reading the regulations talking about like you couldn't bring like the flag or like anything bigger than like 5x5 or 3x5 thing, and I was like, dude, that thing's like bigger than my whole body. And somebody was like, oh yeah, they folded that and then
that's right.
It in. That's a veteran's move. I was like, hey, that's cool. So, but yeah, I would have loved to bring a sign or something like that.
Yeah. Thank you.
But they had some pretty sweet DJ music. That was cool.
They did. They switched it up. They went from like it was Biggie Smalls to
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
To whatever.
It was cool. They got to work in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to see Isaiah Pop Pacheco score a touchdown. No one touched him. Travis Kelce got a pass to the end zone. Tommy Townsend was booting that thing from Kingdom Come. And then we saw Clyde the Glide Edwards-Helaire on the sidelines where he belongs. And
where we'll get into that too.
And so
because that's exactly where he belongs, but apparently the Chiefs don't think so.
I mean, they got him under contract. Why not use him in the beginning part?
Why not just go ahead?
Why not?
And whatever.
So, but yeah, no, it was a good time. The vendors were really nice. They were nice enough to give us some like little sunscreen things for free. That was cool.
Packing it because we're so white that we were
we are
right out there.
And it wasn't too bad. Like it was hot, but like
not really. Like,
that was that week.
Bad as it could have been.
Yeah, it was like 80 degrees. Like right before it was like miserably hot at the end of July.
Fields got done that. Yeah.
July or August. I think it was actually we went in August. Yeah, it was like a month ago. But
we went to August.
Yeah, I would definitely go again. My dad would not because they're not allowed to bring alcohol there. And so,
okay.
So you could tailgate, just no alcohol, and it's
funny.
Not a game, but yeah, no, it was a good time. And if you got kids too, they do got a lot of stuff for them to go do and run around and tackle some pillows and catch balls from college kids or whoever they had out there. But
the college team,
no, it was pretty fun. I had a good time. But yeah, make sure you get there early because when they're done, they're done.
That is true. That is true. They got done at 11:30.
Yeah, and a lot of folks. There was a lot of people there. And folks did say too that like, oh, they're out earlier than they normally are, and so I mean, we left with the crowd, and then we really left with the crowd in the parking lot.
Yeah, that was a mess.
That was the real Arrowhead experience, man.
It was a very Arrowhead-esque experience. Very Arrowhead-esque. But you know what? It was fun. It was cool.
Yeah, I'm glad we went.
Enjoyed it. Glad we went. Got to see how sausage is made.
Yeah. And we got to see the new Mustang Mach-E. If you haven't seen those bad boys yet.
Yes.
It's the new Ford Mustang Mach-E. It's like a Mustang, but it's a SUV hybrid.
Right.
And, I checked them out as soon as I could on the internet, and they're pretty slick. I think they're all electric. I guess supposedly that's good for the environment in some areas. But we'll see. But I know if I had an extra $80,000 just laying around and nothing else to do, I'd buy one.
Right.
Get it.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, just I don't know. I think a Jeep should be a Jeep itself. But yeah, those were cool. It was fun. I don't need a Mustang Jeep, but some people do.
This is America.
Having said that, I would want to drive one. Yeah, but week one, the Chiefs, they debuted, rose the banner. They had their season debut Thursday night against the Lions, and it started. The week started out a little bad. First off, we've got Chris Jones is doing a press conference outside of McDonald's, saying, "I just want to raise, what a lot of people want to raise, but they still show up to work." And he's just getting really, really bad advice from his agent. And then on Tuesday, we heard that Travis Kelce hyperextended his leg, which was not good. And the odds of him being available for Thursday were not good either. And he was not playing Thursday. And to say that had an effect on the Chiefs' offense would be an understatement, right?
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, in the short term, yeah.
Short term. Now, the Chiefs, yeah, man, they were up 14-7. I just think that game and was a combined bad performance by the receivers, combined with Andy Reid being outcoached. He did not do a good job of coaching that game, coaching up his players, putting his players in a position to succeed. And I specifically am talking about the offense, because the Chiefs, every time on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and short or 4th and short, they do something stupid, and it never, I don't want to say never, but it works 30% of the time. Which means 70% of the time on 3rd and short and 4th and short, it doesn't work.
What doesn't work?
The gadget plays that Andy Reid runs. So for instance, they had in the second half of the Lions game, they had a 3rd and short a couple times, and they tried, instead of a quarterback sneak, they tried to run like an end around with Toney, who got like -1 yards. And then they just tried a bunch of other stupid crap with Blake Bell that maybe works, and I'm being very generous, 50% of the time. So, and then also the Chiefs came out, like the first half, the Chiefs were up 14-7, and Mahomes had thrown for 2 touchdown passes. To
Rice.
To Rice and to Noah Gray, I think. Was it Noah Gray?
Yeah, I think it was Noah Gray. Yeah,
it was Noah Gray. Yeah. And then it was like they never played those guys again. Instead, we're playing Sky Moore and Kaderius Toney, who combined that second half were just awful. Absolutely awful. And like you said earlier, the player of the game for the Detroit Lions was Kaderius Toney, who started off his night with a drop pass that ended up being a touchdown. And there's a meme going around that's like, that he had the ball right here in his hands, and it said, "This pass resulted in a Lion pick 6." And then he went ahead and dropped another pass on 3rd and short. So the Chiefs had to settle for a field goal. And then on the last drive of the game, he had his one, I thought his worst drop of the game, which was a ball. He was wide open that all he had to do was catch the ball, and they were in field goal range, and they could have stalled for time and settled for a game-winning field goal. But that did not happen. He dropped the ball, and the fans just booed miserably. It was, and then the announcer was like, "And he drops it again. Kaderius Toney. Oh my gosh!" And then Sky Moore Sky Moore didn't have a good game either. He either didn't get open or didn't make plays when he was throwing the ball. So he was awful too. And there's the 4th and 25 play, which they went for, and I thought they should have because I don't think they had a choice. Yeah. 4th and 25 play, which Mahomes threw a pass, and Sky Moore could have had it, but I think it's just way, way, way too much to ask of our receivers to actually make a play.
That's really harsh, but really accurate, Ryan. And I do think, like you said, there's it's not just one thing; it's a combination of things. But you can only make so many mistakes. But they made
they made so many of them.
They made so many of them, and there was only 1 point. Only 1 point.
They only lost by 1 point. And as we're doing this, the Bengals embarrassed themselves against the Browns, and they don't have an excuse because the Chiefs, like the announcer said, I think after the game, this game is an asterisk by it because Chris Jones and Travis Kelce weren't playing. I was like, well, that's a little wrong to say it because the Lions did earn that win.
They did.
It wasn't their fault that Kelce and Chris Jones, and we'll get to Chris Jones. Did not play, but yeah, for what it was an annoying game, and I think that Andy Reid needs to do a lot of self-evaluating with how he handles 4th and 1 and 3rd and 1, 3rd and short, and maybe not playing so many receivers, just to let that receivers have a chance to get in the game and get in the flow and not lose rhythm, because I think that's what actually hurt them as well too.
I agree.
I think these receivers got in the game and they were rotating so many of them that they didn't get a chance to get in the flow of the game. So right. And then now Chris Jones. Good grief.
I don't think he would have made much of a difference, but
I don't think no, you're right. I don't think he would have either. But it did make for a fun, weird picture of him sitting between him and 2 henchmen, that were his agents. Those were his agents that he was sitting next to.
I thought those were
in a suite. Like he wasn't on the field. Like he went to the game. Which meant that he bought a suite, or maybe I don't know if his agents did, but they bought a suite to that game. The Chiefs didn't pay for any of that.
Well, if he would have sat in with the general public, he would have gotten eaten alive. But yeah, right. I know somebody.
Well, he wasn't. No, he sat in a suite, and instead of being on the field with his teammates, he wasn't on the field with his teammates, and he. He got eaten alive online for that because it was just such bad optics, not being there for your team and then doing the stupid press conference outside of McDonald's saying, I just want a raise. I'm just looking for a raise. And, again, most people are looking for raises. They still show up to work.
Yeah.
While they're looking for a raise.
Yeah, it usually helps your case, but I guess it's different when you're an athlete.
Maybe that's a good point. I don't know, Trenton. Did you see that picture? Did you see that picture of him?
Oh yeah. He looks pretty unhappy.
He did.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to take away from that game. And I hope Chris Jones does get his money. I think that they could definitely work something out. The other thing, the Chiefs did exactly what I thought they would do as far as offense goes. They're going to spread the ball out. You really don't know which direction it's coming from and where it's going. And apparently, neither does the offense.
No, so, apparently, Sky Moore doesn't know what direction he's supposed to go.
Yeah,
or Kaderius Toney. That's a good point.
So I think it's just growing pains. The Lions are a really good team. I'm not going to discredit them because, we knew coming in at the end of last season, they were hot. They were a hot team.
It's going to be a very tough game, especially without Chris Jones and Travis Kelce. And yeah, so.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you mentioned Kelsey, because one of the other things I wanted to say about that I thought was interesting was, he missed the only time he's like missed a game from injury was like when he was a rookie, because he had like a injury to his left knee, and so I was a little concerned about him hyperextending it, but it turns out this current injury was his right knee. So long term, I don't think that's going to be that big of an issue, but we'll see. We'll see how the season progresses. But that it would have been more cause for concern. I'm not so worried about it now because they got the mini bye.
Yeah,
Rest up and heal up. I think he was ruled out before the game, but I didn't see them doing much with him in the game anyway.
No, you're right. He would have been a decoy. But yeah. It showed, like, to me, that the Chiefs don't need to what they did is they spent a lot of time the last 2 or 3 years trying to have and get guys who are just like Tyreek Hill. And instead of getting big receivers who can catch contested balls and go up, make plays, they got these gadget guys. And that's what Sky Moore is. That's what McCole Hardman was. That's what Kaderius Toney is. And instead of investing in receivers that are big and can go make plays, they invested in these small guys who are quick and maybe not necessarily catch balls. Or McCole Hardman, in Sky Moore's case, I don't know what route to run. So they need to kind of reevaluate how they determine what a good receiver is.
Yeah, for sure. I do appreciate Andy taking responsibility on that. That's all on him. That's all on me.
He always does, but like, again, his short yardage game issues have been going on for a while. At some point, you can only take so much responsibility before you're like, are you really trying to change it, or are you just saying that?
Yeah, I think he is, just not at this part of the year. I think they want to be predictable. It's a chess game, but at the beginning of it, I mean, they had the first half was okay. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the prettiest, but they were at least, getting momentum. They were running the ball, which was great. And then I don't know what the hell happened the second half.
Well, so they
got desperate.
Well, yeah. No, what happened was that the receivers were maybe they weren't. They were just out of sync with Mahomes. And what was another weird thing is that they started Clyde Edwards-Helaire and they ran him way too much.
Too much.
Like, he doesn't need to run the ball. Like, you don't need to run him. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why they did that. I don't think that was clearly it didn't work out. But running Pacheco didn't work out either. And then you saw McKinnon drop a few passes too when Mahomes had a guy like draped all over him.
I know. Yeah, he shook him off, and the dude's like wrapped around his leg, and he's still just like.
Right. He drops it, and so that's why I said, like, somebody besides Mahomes and Kelsey on that offense is going to have to step up and make a play at some point. So we and that guy McKinnon or not McKinnon, but Marquez Valdez-Scantling made a good play on 3rd and 7.
Yeah, him and Watson, they had a couple good ones as well.
So and then they just stopped going to them, and that's where I felt like Andy Reid should have, like, hey, you know what? No, we're gonna. These guys are being productive. Let's just keep going with this.
Yeah.
Instead, we tried to get Sky Moore and Toney involved in the game, and it just didn't work out.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point, because I know that Reid always talks about, like, they give them whoever's hot, whoever's got the hot hands. That's the one they go with. But instead, they were just sharing it like Thanksgiving dinner or whatever.
Right.
Like, your turn. This isn't Pee Wee League. This is the NFL, dog.
Right. But on to the next game. They lost by 1. In a game that they very easily should have won.
Yeah.
And so they play in the Jaguars, who look pretty good against the Colts today in Jacksonville. So that's going to be a tough game. So 0-2 is a very possibility with them. So they're gonna have to figure some things out.
That's crazy, man. Well, I think that they're up for the challenge and they look forward to it. They got the mini bye to rest up and do some soul searching, and I think the biggest thing is soul searching. We didn't get Big Mac sacks, did we?
12 years. 12 years. No, they got pressures. Again, the defense wasn't the problem. It was, Chris Jones did not come across good well on Thursday. Matter of fact, I think his Q rating went down.
You think if they would have won, it would have made a difference?
Maybe. I mean,
like as far as like people's opinion about him, like do you think he'd be getting so much like hate? Like he's already getting hate, but like I don't know. You think they would have made a difference if they won?
No, it would have been more in their opposite direction. Like we won't without you,
right?
And then they would be like calling for more of a trade, which they should do now because I don't see that situation getting any better. But yeah.
Right. And what a baller move Feach would be doing right there. Like, I don't agree with it. I think they could figure it out. But, like, who am I to say?
Well, they have to, but it takes two to figure it out. Chris Jones has to play. I think he has to come to some sort of compromise because the Chiefs aren't moving, nor should they move on there because they did offer him a raise. It's just he didn't like it. So
yeah. I think they're like within $5 million a part of what they're wanting. I think it all boils down to guarantees.
I don't know.
So,
yeah, I don't know. I
don't know how it works.
Yeah, I think it's. I think it's just a terrible play on Chris Jones' part. I think that he and his agents really misread the situation, and I don't think that they are going to come away with what they want. Because if you've seen Chris Jones's agents, who look like used car salesman / mafia hitman, their clients are a bunch of backups and people on the practice squad. So Chris Jones is their only client they really have. And it shows because they are not helping him out, and they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to negotiate, and so it clearly shows. Yeah,
a tragic one. Week lost, but it's a long season. I'm not too worried about it. But
long season. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. What?
Yeah, exactly. No, I just got heartburn. But other than that, I'm not worried about Chiefs the rest of the season. I think they're still Super Bowl contenders. We'll just see how the rest of the year goes.
But receivers, step up.
Please.
You got embarrassed on national television. Step up. You went on national television and you Cincinnati Bengals yourselves. So
in a bad way.
That's what that meant. Because the Bengals got embarrassed to the Browns, and it was hilarious.
And they're both kitty cats, the Lions and the Bengals.
Yeah, so Joe Burrow had the worst performance of any QB in Week 1, by a mile. Any last thoughts with Week 1 and that game?
The land of the free and the home of the
Chiefs.
That's all I got.
We'll be back, baby. We'll be back. It may not be this week, but we'll be back.
Boom. All right. So that was that. I'm going to take this time to transition now.
I'm going to stop this.
All right. I love it. Keep it.